What's up? We're live here at the SNS show. I'm here with Sal. We're about to break down position groups. We're going to give them our grading, and we'll get into maybe some top 5 position rankings throughout the NFL. What's going on?
What is going on? Let's get into it.
Okay, so what do we got? We're going to rank the QB room of the 49ers to start us off.
Yeah,
Is this with or without Brock Purdy?
This is clearly with Brock Purdy as our quarterback, assuming that the 49ers are going to come to a conclusion with this contract. So we're going to go with a B+ on this room. And the reason why I say that is I feel like Brock Purdy is around number 10 or 11th in the league in terms of ranking quarterbacks. I feel like if Brock Purdy can take a leap this season, then maybe you'll have the argument of putting him in the top 10. And the reason why I say B+ as well is the 49ers happen to sign Mac Jones. And I think Mac Jones, in terms of a backup quarterback, may be one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. And, you know, I think that was a really good acquisition by the 49ers. It gives them that, you know, that comfort that if Brock Purdy goes down, maybe he can pull off a win or two before he can come back, assuming that it's not a serious injury. But I just wanted to mention Brock Purdy in specific, his strengths. I think Brock Purdy's strengths, I think what you first have to mention is his pocket presence. I think he's very calm in the pocket. I think Brock Purdy scans the field as good as anybody, and he throws on time. I think the things that you would knock on Brock Purdy would be his height, his size, his arm strength. I think those things sometimes, you know, they hurt his ability to look downfield. They hurt his ability to, you know, be able to stand in the pocket and deliver. Don't get me wrong. He's still willing to do that. He's done it in the past. He takes a blow to feed a throw. He's good for that. There's no argument there. It's just he's not that big quarterback with the big arm. Outside of that, you know, he's got legs where he can extend plays and, you know, go for a first down. So I would give the room a B+. I'm not sure what you would give it. That's what I would give it.
Yeah, I'm gonna prop it up to A, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so Brock Purdy, I agree, he's around the 11, 12 overall in the league. Josh Allen will put you at A+. Patrick Mahomes will put you at A+. I'll give the 49ers an A because I do really like Brock Purdy, and yeah, like you said, we have a solid backup quarterback, and there's not many teams that could say that. So I'll give the room as a whole an A. And to touch on Brock Purdy's talent, yeah, I mean, like when you talk about the GOATs of the league, like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and even Patrick Mahomes, these are all very smart quarterbacks. Okay, so now Patrick Mahomes has more abilities physically and athletically, but you get that GOAT status from being a smart quarterback, and that's what Brock Purdy is. He's a smart quarterback. Now, keep in mind, all those guys have way better statures than Brock Purdy. They're all taller, they're all bigger. But I don't know. I think Brock Purdy has the scramble ability over all three of those quarterbacks that puts him over the top in that aspect. So he's not.
The thing for me to put the group as an A, the reason why I wasn't able to do that and I put them as a B+ is I'm a firm believer that you have to be, there's only about 5 teams in the league that I would give an A to in the quarterback room. And the last one out of the top 4, we all know who the top 4 are. The 5th one being Matt Stafford. You know, people may argue Jaden Daniels is an A. It's a fair argument. You know, CJ Stroud.
Well, keep in mind, I'm thinking A+. A, and then there's A-. So if we're talking
I guess that's fair, but I'm only willing to give Brock Purdy a B+ because of the season last year. I'm not saying that Brock Purdy cannot elevate his game and become, you know, in the top 10 like I mentioned. I really believe Brock Purdy at his highest level of play 2 years ago was a top 10 quarterback. It was very, very easy to say so. But when the players around him diminished, his play did, you know, show some decline and it affected his game. So you want to be the quarterback that elevates the guys around him as opposed to he needs guys to elevate his game. And he hasn't been able to prove that yet. It's not saying that he won't. It's just that's my honest take on it. So yeah, I'm going to stick with a B plus. You give it an A. Let's move on to running back. The 49ers right now at the running back position, they're expecting Christian McCaffrey to lead the way this year. Hopefully he can stay healthy. If Christian McCaffrey stays healthy and Isaac Guerrero is the backup and the change of pace kind of guy, outside of what they bring in from the draft, I know they have Patrick Daylor as a depth guy, but I would say it's an A because I don't think there's very many running backs in the league that compare to Christian McCaffrey. If Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, I have every reason to believe he's going to return back to that form, maybe not to the level of 2023 where he was the league MVP, offensive MVP, but I do expect him to be pretty close. I really believe in the guy's preparation. I believe in the way he treats the game. Like, this guy is your ultimate pro. The reason why I say that, his preparation coming into the season is bar none as good as it gets. He's going to put his body in position to last the season. Whether or not it works out that way for him remains to be seen. He does play the running back position, which players get hurt at running back, but I'm a believer in the way he prepares. And Isaac Guerrero is a rising star. Not a lot of people are aware of this guy. He runs a 4.3. He's 220 odd pounds. He's a beast, if you ask me. He's not going to play the Jordan Mason style, but he'll find ways to, turn a 10-yard run into 30. We seen it last year. He won a game in Seattle, took a off tackle for about 60 yards, sat it down instead of scoring, and put the game away. I believe in that room. I'm going to give it an A.
Yeah, Guerendo's a home run hitter. He could take it to the house at any point, and so is Christian McCaffrey. But Christian McCaffrey's the all-around back that you just 100%. Dream about. So, but I will give the room a B plus, and that is only because Christian McCaffrey is always at risk of injury. Like, his career just tells us that, and he's only getting older. Now, that's not to say if he stays healthy, he's going to have a massive year. That's what's expected of him, and I think if you expect anything less than that, you're crazy. So, yeah, I'll give it a B plus though.
What if the Niners draft Bijan Tootin? Yeah, the next Jahmyr Gibbs in my call. I've been saying it. Virginia Tech.
Yeah,
he's coming at a 4.32. They just got to bring in one more guy.
Yeah, we know they will. Like Kyle Shanahan said in his press conference at the owners' meeting that they will draft a running back like they do every year. So,
right,
we don't know if it's going to come in round 3 or round 5. Probably.
I'm hoping round 4. I think that's the round for running back this year. I think you can get a quality back in round 4, and there's no reason to pick one earlier than that.
Yeah. So yeah, but let's say the worst happens and CMC can't stay healthy. Isaac Guerrero is a beast, and the more he gets on the field and splits reps with Christian McCaffrey, the more we'll know that.
I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be just fine. I know he's had some injuries in the past, and like anybody that plays running back and carries the load, you're going to get injured. Outside of, like, Derrick Henry's one of the rare guys that's been staying pretty healthy for a long time, but even he's had injuries. So it's a reality of the position. Moving on to tight end. I think the 49ers have the best tight end in football. I've been saying that. A lot of people want to start saying that Brock Bowers has already arrived and he's already the top guy in the league. I'm not going to give him that just yet. I still think George Kittle is going to be the top tight end in the league for probably 2 or 3 more years. And that's how much I believe in his game. That's how much I believe in George Kittle. You're talking about all-around tight end. He will catch the ball, and he's got the yak. He's got the ability to get open. He catches everything. And don't forget about his blocking abilities. So when you're talking about the tight end room, I still give it an A, despite the fact that they only have Luke Farrell behind him. And the reason why I say that is because of how good George Kittle is. George Kittle, for those people who understand the game of football, understand that George Kittle is a next level type tight end. These are the type of tight ends that don't come around very often. You can watch football for a long time, and you're not going to see very many tight ends that play like him. He's a blocking guy who loves to block. If the game calls for let's run it down their throat, he has no complaints blocking all game and leading the back to the end zone.
Yeah, George Kittle is a wide receiver at threat of catching the ball. He's a miniature old lineman in the run game. He's a stud. I mean, even when Travis Kelce 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, when Travis Kelce was dominating the league, I was saying George Kittle is better. Because if you gave George Kittle Patrick Mahomes, he's putting up better numbers than Kelce, and I bet on it. George Kittle is the definition of all-around tight end, and he's a master at everything he does. So there's zero weakness in his game. For the positional group, I'll give it an A, and that's strictly because there's not a lot of depth at that position. We talk about Luke Farrell, we spent a lot of money on a guy who blocks. So there's just no depth there.
I really wish the 49ers didn't spend $20 million on a backup tight end just to block. It's something that it blows my mind that the 49ers were willing to spend $20 million, $22 million on a third string tight end from Jacksonville Jaguars, but yet we couldn't retain Dre Greenlaw, and we needed to wait till Dre Greenlaw was out the door before we gained some balls to go and offer him the deal that he deserved.
Right. Well, a little bit of credit to Shanahan. He did say something that I find hard to disagree with. When he was asked about the Luke Farrell deal, he said it's going to free up George Kittle massively in the pass game, which is true if you have a sick blocking tight end at the number 2. But still, to spend that much money on one, like you're telling me you can't find one for cheaper or you can't draft one that blocks really well, that's the confusing part. But
yeah, for sure.
The signing makes sense, I guess.
Okay, moving on to the wide receiver room. I think this is one of the stronger points of the team. I feel like, the 49ers are very optimistic about Brandon Ayuk returning week 1, which is very exciting and something I did not expect. I expected a week 5 return if it was something that I thought would be at best. So the fact that they're optimistic that, Brandon Ayuk could return week 1 is very exciting. And then, you got Ricky Pearsall, who's on the rise. I think he's going to be, I know I've said this and people, are unsure of Ricky Pearsall and what he's going to bring to the table this upcoming season, but I would not be surprised if Ricky Pearsall is a Pro Bowler this year. It would not surprise me one bit. The Detroit Lion game sticks out to me. He had 140 yards receiving and a touchdown. The next week after that, he had about 70 yards and a touchdown to finish off the year. And this is a guy that went through, you name it. He comes into the league being drafted, high pressure, gets shot. How many players in the league get shot and recover and come back and play the same season? That's a distraction. The 49ers were loaded with distractions last year. Yeah. But in terms of Ricky Pearsall being shot and coming back and able to put games like that together at the end is very promising and something that I just believe there's a really good chance that Ricky Pearsall is going to surprise a lot of people this year. And then you know what to expect from third and Juwan Jennings is going to do his thing. He gets open. He's got one weakness, and that weakness is speed. But for whatever reason, it doesn't stop him from getting open. It just doesn't allow him to go and break away.
Yeah, man. I mean, if Ricky Pearsall, I believe personally, last year Ricky Pearsall just gave us a little taste of what he's going to do. And that's exciting as hell. Like, if that's a little taste of what Ricky Pearsall could do, the future is extremely bright for him. He got, like you said, he got a shot. He had a horrible offseason. He didn't get to participate in training camp or nothing like that. And he developed a rapport with Brock Purdy very quickly. So that's extremely exciting. We all know Brandon Ayuk is a big question mark, but I'm excited to get him back on the field. I
maybe, just maybe, the 49ers will take use of Jacob Cowing, a guy that the 49ers drafted. John Lynch was high on him, and we didn't really use him last year. And if, Brandon Ayuk is not back week 1, I think the third receiver is Jacob Cowing, outside of a chance of them drafting somebody to go ahead of him. But I hope they don't. And I hope they stick to defense, O-line, and again, defense. So outside of those positions, I don't see why you draft a receiver. Let's stick with the guy. And there's another up-and-comer that the 49ers have high praise over, and that's Tariq Owens, who happens to be Terrell Owens' son. Now, if Tariq Owens can crack the lineup, something he didn't do last year, but he did get injured, and the Niners, for whatever reason, wanted to bring him back once he was healthy. So it tells you something that the 49ers see something in Tariq Owens enough to bring him back. it tells me that they, have some faith that he's going to crack the lineup. Whether or not he gets on the field is another thing, but he's going to probably be on the 53-man roster. I would not be surprised one bit. And the reason why I say that is he got released, he recovered, he rehabbed. They brought him back and put him back on the practice squad. So it tells you something that they definitely believe in his game. He's just got to be able to put it together. He's a raw receiver. Yeah, so I'm gonna give them an A for this group.
Fair enough. Shout out to Maj Sports. He says Demarcus Robinson ? And yeah, that's a good point. That's another depth piece. That's the leader of the group. I wouldn't say leader, but more of a veteran presence. So yeah,
no, I apologize, Maj. I did forget about Demarcus Robinson. Demarcus Robinson, yeah, he'll probably be the third receiver, to be honest, unless Jacob Cowing can win over Kyle Shanahan, because Jacob Cowing is somebody that can get open, and I believe in his game. I really do. I believe that there's a chance that guy, if he's given an opportunity to play in the slot, his stature is slot receiver written all over it. But it's hard to become a slot receiver in the NFL without the opportunity. And Shanahan has got to give this guy a chance. If you watch the way he plays, you can tell. I played defensive back, and I'm speaking from a defensive back's perspective. That is a tough guy to cover one-on-one in the slot if you do not get your hands on him. So if we're going to play zone, let's say, and this guy's threatening you inside and then happens to just stop on a dime because he's so small, which he can do, like a Wes Welker-esque type of receiver, these guys are tough to stop. So you got to get hands on and interfere with their route running, or they can become a huge issue. And that's where like a guy like St. Brown has a lot of success. Guys in the slot, these are the type of receivers that you do not want to go against in open space. So I think he needs to be given an opportunity. Yeah. And I'm a believer in his game. It's just at the end of the day, you got to put it together on the field. You can do whatever you want on tape and practice and yada, yada, but you need to put it together on the NFL field. So I'm going to give that group an A.
Yeah, I think the limited moments that he's had to prove himself, I think he's come up big for us. I don't see him failing like Ronnie Bell did. So, yeah, his chances, he'll get more chances as the season goes on. I'll give the position group an A as well.
Okay, let's move on to the O-line. This one makes me scratch my head.
I'll take it off from here. I'll take it. Okay. So you got a stud left tackle that's probably in his last year of his career. So, and you didn't see as high play from him last year as we have in the recent years. I'm not going to call it a fall off. I know you don't like that because you don't agree with that simply. But we did see he just wasn't playing his usual all-pro. That's his usual. So there's that. And then the left guard question mark. Is it going to be Burford? Probably. Maybe a rookie to compete. The center is Brendel. Maybe a rookie on the bench to compete. We got a solid right guard. We hit massively in Dominic Pooney, so that's a huge upside. We need another one of those. That is not something to just look past, man. It's finding out all pro O-line like that in the later rounds is extremely hard, but they hit gold on that. And then the right tackle, Colton McKivitz. Horrible. Probably one of the worst starting right tackles in the league. That's my opinion. Every time I see him on tape, I scratch my head, I shake my head. So I'll give that position group a C. We'll give it a solid C. But after next year, when you lose Trent Williams and you don't have a replacement at the left tackle, and you're sick of McKivitz constantly screwing up and you need a replacement at the right tackle, all of a sudden you have holes everywhere. So we'll leave it at a C for this year.
Okay, something I took away from what Kyle Shanahan said in his past interview was that they have every intention of using Spencer Burford, who's been a left guard and a struggling left guard, as the swing tackle to replace Jalen Graham. So his expectation in coming into this season is to be able to play left tackle and right tackle if there's an injury to happen.
Interesting.
So, yeah, so that one's interesting. But left tackle, Trent Williams, I don't care, man. I'm still a full believer in his game. There might have been a little bit of a drop-off. But when you're the top of the top, you can afford a little bit of drop-off. You're still the man. left guard is a huge question mark. I think Ben Barch showed some promise. I think the 49ers really need to consider Ben Barch as a starter. There's going to be Matt Hennessy as well competing at that spot. Maybe Spencer Burford as well if he doesn't end up being that swing tackle, but it appears that's the intention going in. Center. Oh, man. Jake Brendel. So Shanahan, of course, he can't say my center sucks. And in his past interview, he said something about how, it's very intelligent of Shanahan. He spoke highly of what the one thing he's good at. He's good at calling protections, and he's good at pass blocking. Good. I wouldn't say great. But he is good at, I would say he's pretty damn good at calling protections. I don't think the 49ers have major issues there. So I give him credit there. I think him and Shanahan are on the same page. But when it comes to run blocking, there's a huge issue there. He is unable to run block. This is the reason why the 49ers have issues in short yardage. This is the reason why the 49ers would struggle in the red zone and struggle on 4th and 1. I think it has a lot to do with him. If you pay attention to the tape, and I'm a huge guy on watching tape, he gets driven back. So when you're doing short yardage, your goal as a center is to get low and get underneath that tackle, the nose or your left tackle, right tackle. You need to get underneath the nose tackle. And what does he do? He comes out high and gets driven backwards. And when you're running in the A gap, you can't afford to get driven backwards. And that's what I see when I see Drake Brendel. Right guard, Pooney. Man, that guy is so exciting. What a hit. What a player. I mean, the talent, the athleticism for his size. It's a great pick. 5th round. John Lynch doing what he does in the 5th round. He cooks it. And he cooked one up right there. Right tackle, McKivitz. He's been a struggling right tackle since he entered the league. Mm-hmm. The 49ers, though, this is the thing. You have a coach in Kyle Shanahan who has figured out a system how to hide a bad right tackle. Yeah. I remember the game that sticks out in my mind is when he played against Micah Parsons. Now, anytime you left McKivitz one-on-one with Micah Parsons, you would see a struggling McKivitz. He would struggle. But Kyle Shanahan has a way of attacking players like that in the run game, and it affects their pass rush. And all of a sudden, you see a Micah Parsons become very bland, and his pass rush is not as exciting as it usually is. And the reason being is there's guys cracking down receivers, tight ends, pulling guards, pulling tackles, and all of a sudden he's not so excited to rush the quarterback anymore. And all of a sudden, if it isn't 3rd down, that guy's not motivated to rush at all. And then on 3rd down, he starts helping the McKivitz with a tight end or a chip from the back, and he's able to withstand the pressure of a Micah Parsons. So we're able to get away with it only because of the style the offense runs and Kyle Shanahan's genius ability. There's a lot of things that Kyle Shanahan does well. Not a lot of people understand the advantage he gives the O-line. That's a big one. He helps the O-line in many ways. We get away with a C group. I'm going to give it a C-. But because of Shanahan, it's a lot better than it appears. And the 49ers are going to address something in the draft here. I'm assuming that they're going to get a guy that can go from center to guard. I think that's what they're going to get. And I also think they're going to draft 1 tackle. Outside of that, it should be strictly defense. And maybe 1 running back.
Yeah, I agree.
So I give the group a C-. I really do. I think it's that bad. I think it's hidden from Shanahan.
Yeah, it's true. Shanahan hides a lot. And just to be fair on Trent Williams, I guess when you are a veteran for that long, and over the past couple of years, you've gotten used to competing for a Super Bowl. I guess on a down season like that, he could afford a little bit of bad play. So
now this one is the funny one. Okay, so we're gonna rate the 49ers D-line group, and it's kind of hard to rate the group because there's Nick Bosa, Givens, Matos, and Elliott.
You said Nick Bosa and who?
So basically, the other 3 are not starters in the NFL. Or you could argue Matos is a rotational player, but generally not a starter. They expected big things out of him. They gave him a pretty good contract. I think he's like the 4th highest paid. He goes at 4th highest towards the cap. He's like $10 million, which is like the 4th highest on the team, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, not a lot of people know that, but it is pretty crazy. So they did expect some things out of him. It didn't come to fruition. He did get hurt. But wait to see what he does this year is a big thing. But the 49ers, make no mistake about it, are going to draft early at D-line. I'm hoping 2 D tackles and an edge player in the first 3 rounds. And that would make me a very happy guy. But as of right now, it's a D. This group is very bad. Until they address it in the draft, it is probably the worst group in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. We expect to see 3. I would expect 4 rookies in that positional group to come on this year. And man, I love Nick Bosa, but the reason he can't even prompt up the D to a D plus is because he's just not simply doing, in my opinion, what a $30 million player should be doing. So I hope to see more out of Nick Bosa this year. He has to be the leader this year. He has no choice. He's one of the few defensive leaders we have left. Between him, Deommodore Lenoir, and Fred Warner, you don't really see anyone else. So he has no choice but to have a big year this season. So I'll give him a D. You could even see a D minus if we're doing minuses. So
okay, we're on to the next group here, and we're going to talk linebackers. Again, the Niners have a hole here at linebacker, but it remains to be seen what D Winters is going to do this year. I think he's going to get the opportunity to start off unless we go really high in the draft at a linebacker. Like Jalen Walker, if the Niners happen to get him at 11, I think what that does to D Winters is it puts him on the bench. Maybe on third down, he would come in and you move down Jalen Walker to edge. But I could see on early downs, if we were to get a guy like that, he's going to play linebacker and then third down, pass rush. And that's when D Winters will get his opportunity. But let's say we don't get Jalen Walker and we're rolling with D Winters and the beast, Fred Warner. I still think the group is a B. And the reason why I say that is D Winters has shown some promise. He plays fast. He's a great cover linebacker. I've talked about this in the past. There's a play that he did against the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to say there's probably 5 linebackers in the league that can make that play. And what I'm talking about is he's playing Sam linebacker, and he's got a post coming from the opposite side of the field, and he recognizes it and picks it up and doesn't allow the throw. Otherwise, that throw was coming. And this is against Patrick Mahomes, and that guy's going to be wide open. I believe the coverage was cover 3. And, safety's got a threat down the seam. He's got to roll with that. And this guy's doing a skinny post straight across the field. And he picks it up, recognizes it, and shuts down the play. It's a very high athletic play. It's not an easy play. It demands a lot from your linebacker. You got to be very athletic to do it. And D Winters did that on that play. In terms of run defense, I'm not fully aware of what he brings. I haven't seen enough of him on tape, but I've heard some good things. It's just he needs to put it together. They didn't give him an opportunity. They gave it to Campbell. They brought him in, probably the worst acquisition of the year. And, we lost out on D Winters having a year.
Yeah, I'm completely opposed to him being on the bench another year. Whether you have Jalen Walker on the roster or not. I'm not saying play him over Jalen Walker, but find a way for both of them to be on the field, whether that means Jalen Walker has to play edge on all 3 downs. But if you find D Winters on the sideline again for this year, it's almost like you have a hidden talent that you almost don't want to figure out. Like, we've seen a lot of good things out of him. He's extremely young, so you have to believe that's going to grow. If you keep him on the bench, it's like how many young how many young studs, possibly stars, do you not want to play? Like Jordan Mason, great example. It almost looked like Shanahan didn't want to play him at some point. So I'm opposed to doing that with D Winters. You're going to have rookies on the field. You're going to have too many rookies on the field not to play D Winters. So that's the way I see it. I'll give the position group I'll give it a B plus because Fred Warner still is the best linebacker in the league, in my opinion. So
Freddie's a stud, and Freddie brings it. And Freddie's going to be healthy this year. He played injured, and he still brought it. I'm a huge believer in Freddie. And I just want to say thank you to Deal. Thanks for supporting us. We're trying to get out there and get recognized, and we really appreciate that. So let's move on to the next group, and we're going to talk.
Hold on. Stevo Supremo says minus tackling. I don't know if you're talking about D Winters there, but he hasn't shown that he's a bad tackler. I mean, he's shown that he's physical while he's tackling. He's never shown any weakness like he was scared of making a big hit. So if that's about D Winters, I'd have to disagree with you.
Yeah, I don't think there's been enough film on D Winters to evaluate his tackling abilities. Maybe you know something I don't, because I'll be honest, I watch every single 49er game, and I'm a critic. I don't just watch the game. I also watch the film, and we break down film, and that's something we're excited to do this year.
Yeah.
The X's and O's, and really show our knowledge of the game. So if you've seen a lot of missed tackles, it's something that I haven't noticed. Maybe on special teams, that would be some way I could miss it. But I've seen abilities that D Winters brings that are not very common. Like I say, especially in the pass game. I will say I haven't seen enough in the run game because he hasn't been on the field enough. But what he's done in the pass game are things that are high demand, and not a lot of players can do it. Just that one play in specific. So moving on to the DB group. The DB group is led by Lenoir. I think Lenoir is a premier corner in the league. I put him top 5. Not a lot of people outside the San Francisco 49ers are aware of how good Lenoir is, but I call him Lenny. I think Lenny is as good as it comes in the slot. And that's a huge advantage to have a slot corner that can cover at that high of a level. And then, Renardo Green. Renardo Green was a great draft pick of last year, and he showed a lot of promise. I was at the game in Seattle when he got the pick, and he undercut DK Metcalf. High level play. Renardo Green is an up and comer. Do not be surprised if he becomes a household name at the position sooner than later. I've seen a lot of corners who struggle in man. This guy's the very opposite. This is a freaking guy that wants to play man, and he came into the league with that reputation. The question was, could he do it in the NFL? And he showed he could do it.
This is a guy who wants to be on your number one receiver, and he takes disrespect if you catch a ball on him. He's a
Lenoir saying that they could be the best 1-2 punch in the league just gives you an idea of what Lenoir thinks of Renardo Green. And then you got the safety group. The safety group, Malik Mustafa, again, another up and comer. Malik Mustafa is a freaking stud, and he's going to show it this year. You want to see a guy enter the. See, I played safety, and I played the style of being very physical. So I appreciate a physical safety. And he comes down in the alley with every intention of putting a hurt on the running back. We're not talking to receiver, we're talking to running back. This guy wants to put the hurt on a running back. And I'm a huge fan of the way he plays the game. It takes a lot of nuts to come down in the alley and meet head-to-head with a running back that's at the professional level, and he's doing it willingly. So I love his game. And then I think, so there's been some talk that the 49ers brought in Pinnock to start. I think that's crazy, but maybe I'm wrong. Jair Brown showed a lot of promise early, struggled last year, especially in the tackling game. He needs to bring his game back to where it was. He had a lot of interceptions earlier on in his career that were pretty damn good ones, especially, think of the Super Bowl. He had a pick in that game. His very first time on the field, he finished the game off when Hufanga got injured, and he gets a pick to win the game. That's the Jair Brown we need to bring back. He needs to gain confidence, and an offseason is the best way to do that. So train your ass off, and what you do in the lab always shows up on the field. As long as he's working in the lab, it's going to show up. So I would give the 49er group, depending on who becomes the third corner. Right now, it's Trey Brown from the Seahawks, unless they draft somebody. But if they bring in a good player, say in the 3rd round or 4th round, I would want to say that this is an A group. The only reason why I won't say it's an A group, and I'm going to stick with B, is because there is a problem at safety. Jair Brown needs to show me the old Jair Brown, and then we still need to fill the 3rd corner. So I'm going to roll with a B on this group.
Yeah, like Jair Brown is more of a ball hawk type safety, and Malik Mustafa is probably weaker on that side, but a great tackler. I mean, he's undersized, but you absolutely cannot see that in the film because how fearless he is in the tackle game. So I don't mind them starting at safety. Like Jair Brown, I think is too early to write off. I don't write him off. I think he needs another full year, play healthy, play with a group of young guys, and see what you could do. See if you could stand out. So I don't mind that. Renardo Green, I'm super excited for. Like you said, if Lenny's calling them the next 1-2 punch, that's a lot of marbles to bet on. Like that's a big time statement. You could look like a clown really easy in this league after making a statement like that. So he's betting on it clearly.
Yeah.
So
I think he's given him a reason to feel that way, and that's his one-on-one man-to-man coverage, which we ran ultimately way too much last year. You know, Robert Saleh's defense is technically a cover 3 type defense. There's going to be a lot of zone, but that's not to say the 49ers won't play man. You know, you're talking about one of the best defensive coordinators in the game. He will mix it up. And the one thing that I wish Saleh did a little bit more was to bring pressure, but he finds ways to help the D-line even without bringing pressure. So if you're able to get pressure without adding the men coming, that's as good as it gets, because ultimately you just want the quarterback to be under pressure. Right. And that's something that he's able to do.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see his position as a whole. I love Renardo Green. I think he's going to be massive in this league. Lenny's always fun to watch. I'll give them a B plus, because like you said, there is a possible weakness at safety, and that third corner is a question mark. But if Trey Brown's confident, which he made a statement where he seems to be pretty confident, then maybe we got a good number 3 there.
Okay, moving on to special teams.
Oh my god, I didn't think we're gonna do this.
We're doing it.
This is fun.
I'm gonna start with kicker.
Okay.
I think I give our kicker. Is there an F minus?
No,
because I'm giving him an F.
Minus.
No, there's an F minus today, because we have a kicker that should not be in the NFL, and because he was drafted in the 3rd round, this guy is clinging on, and at this point, he should just do himself a favor. Never mind the 49ers. He should do himself a favor and just resign. He needs to hang up those cleats.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I'm a firm believer in second chances, and you know, like, America was built on second chances. But let me tell you something. This guy has lost all confidence, and it's a position that relies strictly on confidence. And he cannot handle the pressure. He's proven it time and time again. At this point, do yourself a favor and just hang him up and move on. It is what it is.
The UFL's doors are open for you if you step out now. If you come give us another bad year, they might close the doors on you.
Honestly, I don't believe he should even do that. I really believe this guy needs to shut it down. Just shut it down. He cannot handle the pressure. It's a reality. This position in the pros requires somebody be stone cold, ice in his veins, and you know, just line up and kick. But for whatever reason, he's shaking. And like, I honestly, I don't know if people notice this, but pay attention to his face when he's about to kick a field goal. There's a lot of concern on his face, and same with the head coach. And I ask myself, as a head coach, why have a kicker that you're unsure of if he's going to make a kick, and how can you be angry when he misses at this point?
Listen, if you can't be angry. You're the one telling him to get on the field. Start going for it on 4th down, or hire a new kicker. There's an idea. But listen, man, if you couldn't handle the pressure in college football, if that wasn't bad enough, now you're in the NFL, and the whole franchise looks at you as a joke. The whole league looks at you as a joke. So you're done. There's no more coming back from that. You're not going to fix your mindset. You can't fix that mindset. You're done. Yeah, maybe it is time to hang up the cleats. The UFL, would I take a chance on him in the UFL if I was the head coach? Probably not. I know they got Destroying. He's a YouTuber that does kicking in his videos. And I guess Jake Moody's probably better than him.
I like the punter. I have nothing against our punter.
It's coming off injured.
I still like him. I've never had an issue with our punting game. I hate our kickoff. Special teams this year is going to be a lot better because we changed the coach, and Saleh brought in somebody that he really believes in, and he's coming from the New York Jets. So he spent a lot of time with Robert Saleh. So I believe that the 49ers and they've been signing special teams players.
Yeah.
So I think the 49ers are taking special teams serious for once, and I think you're going to see a better special teams. And keep in mind, I will say this. The 49ers have mentioned that they're bringing in competition at training camp for Jake Moody. Jake Moody will be jobless by week 1, and if he's not, it's a crime. It's a crime to the NFL.
Who's returning our kicks this year? I don't know.
I really hope it's not Trent Taylor. That would be kind of
Yeah.
funny if Trent Taylor has made his way back onto the 53. But
Yeah.
I would say there's Demarcus Robinson's a chance. Isaac Garendo,
Jacob Cowling returning punts.
Yeah, and
He's done that.
Garendo as well. And we'll see who they draft and what they bring in. But so I would give our special teams a C. But going into next year, it might be better because Jake Moody could be gone and the 49ers have addressed the coaching and addressed, certain players. So right now it's a C, but going into the year, it could be better.
Yeah. I'll give it a D.
Okay, before we shut this down, we're going to just go position by position in the NFL. Top 5 QBs. For me, it's in this order. I'm going to go number 5, Matt Stafford. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. Number 1, Josh Allen.
Okay, I like the number 1. I'll put Josh Allen number 1. Patrick Mahomes 2. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson is where it gets hard. They both have serious upside. They're both different quarterbacks. So you can't be mad at whoever you put above each other there.
Okay.
And Matt Stafford at 5. 100%.
So you agree with Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Okay, top 5 RBs.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to going into 2025. So not what any of them have done in the past, what they're going to do from now on. Okay. Jahmyr Gibbs, number 1. I love that guy. I put Jahmyr Gibbs number 1, and that's not because I had him in fantasy. That's just because he's a stud.
Slightly because you had him in fantasy, but
Slightly.
go ahead.
He's a serious pass catcher, and he'll run in between the tackles. He'll do it all, and he's nasty. So Jahmyr Gibbs, number 1. Let's put Bijan Robinson, number 2.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Let's put CMC number 3. Let's put Saquon number 3, CMC number 4. And
Derrick Henry.
I think this is fall off here. He has to come eventually.
It's true.
It has to come eventually. Give me a young one that I'm missing out on here.
A young back.
Yeah. Like even Kamara's still a stud. Like he's
not necessarily young anymore.
No.
Frick, I'm drawing dead. I think Cook. You could put Cook in there.
Not top 5.
From the Bills.
Not top 5.
He's pretty damn good. I would put Cook in there. You could put Jacobs. There's a few backs. I mean,
Chase Brown is emerging. But
Chase Brown is emerging, but not top 5.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say
give me your top 3.
I'm gonna give you my top 5. Well, my number 1 back in the NFL. Oh, you put Jahmyr Gibbs as 1.
I love him.
I think coming off last year, I think you got to put Saquon Barkley number 1, and then I'm gonna put Christian McCaffrey number 2. This is going into next year. Then I'm gonna put Jahmyr Gibbs as 3, and Bijan Robinson as 4, and number 5 is Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Top 5 wide receivers.
Chase number 1.
Yeah. So I've converted to Chase. I've always said Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the NFL. I've recently converted to Jamar Chase, and the reason why I say that is Jamar Chase is taking over games. Sure, he's got the better quarterback. Sure, he's got the better opportunity, but he's making the most of his opportunity. He's doing his job. And so Jamar Chase is number 1 for me. Number 2 is Justin Jefferson. I think those two, there's really no argument.
Yeah.
I'm putting CeeDee Lamb as number 3. I'm putting A.J. Brown at 4. I'm putting Tyreek Hill at number 4 still. I don't believe in the fall off. I think it's all Tua. I think Tua sucks, and he can't get it done with 2 A+ receivers. So, and a pretty damn good tight end in Jonnu Smith and a really good running back in Devon Achane. So what excuse does Tua have? So I'm sorry. Yeah, he's got a
I
bad
know.
O line. He's got a bad O line. I mean, that's
He's got a
fair.
good OC. He's got a good OC. I
Yeah.
mean, if your only weakness is a weak O line, you should be doing better than that.
Yeah.
But it is hard when you have a weak O line. You're that short of a quarterback.
Yeah. So I'm going Tyreek 4, AJ Brown 5.
I'll just switch the AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill, and we get the same thing. But yeah, Jamar Chase forced himself into the number one spot.
84% first year. I don't judge anybody last year, but Kittle and Pooney down, 3 kickers, puncher, everything else was crazy. Honestly, you could talk Michigan and whatever it is. Don't judge anybody from last year. The kicker is not a position you can always judge a kicker. His job is the same tomorrow, today, yesterday. His job is to line up and kick a damn ball, and he's unable to do it under pressure. And just think of it this way. Last year's games were not high pressure. The 49ers were not in the playoffs. They weren't a playoff team, and he was still missing kicks. When the pressure's high, he's proven that he'll miss. So do not believe in Jake Moody anymore. It's a fact. I mean, at the end of the day, great ones fall off, and we move on. This guy's never been great, and we're unwilling to move on. David Akers fell off, and the 49ers held on to him for a little bit there at the end of his career and suffered, but they have ultimately moved on. You're right now seeing Justin Tucker, the end of his career. He's starting to fall off, and the NFL moves on from kickers. The 49ers do not make a mistake here. They're holding on to this guy because they drafted him in the 3rd round. Otherwise, he would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, man. There's no reason. If Justin Tucker puts up another year like he did last year, best believe there's a real chance they move on from that easily.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I guess he has a sexual assault allegation coming out now. So
yeah, he's in big trouble.
it might happen pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't think he'll play this year. I really don't.
Maybe he'll go chill in a massage parlor or something.
Okay, let's go top tight ends, top 5.
Kittle, number 1. If you argue that, go argue with a brick wall. Yeah. Number 2 right now is Brock Bowers. He's the closest thing there is to Kittle. Okay. Number 3, let's give it to Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he had a good year last year, but he's still the man. He still brings a big problem.
Yeah, he is. Number 4, let's give it to. For some reason, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna give that guy number 5. So I'll remember that. Number 4, help me out here. We got Trey McBride.
Yeah, I like Trey McBride has to be in your top 5. He's shown that he's elevated his game and he's taking his game to another level.
Yeah. Okay. So let's put Trey McBride 4. And is there someone obvious I'm missing out on before I say this number 5?
Jonnu Smith had a big year in Miami.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, Kincaid on the Bills didn't have a big year.
He had a horrible year.
Yeah. Mark Andrews should be there if he didn't suck now.
And I actually like Mark Andrews as backup, who shouldn't be a backup in the NFL. He's an absolute stud.
Likely.
And there's no reason for him to be anybody's backup in the NFL. There's 32 teams.
They started to run 2 tight end sets, so I
get it. I'm just saying he should be featured almost. That's how good he is. So I don't know. That's why. Yeah,
he is. But because he's not putting up the numbers, I guess I'll leave him out of the top 5. I think Evan Ingram is a stud.
Yeah, Evan Ingram is good.
I love him. He's the man in Jacksonville. I mean,
he is good. There's still Njoku. Travis Kelce, I think is proven he's at the end of his career.
Yeah.
But I do think Jonnu Smith deserves his respect, especially after what he did last year. But if you want to go that route, so I'm gonna go for tight ends. Number 1 is a no-brainer for me, is George Kittle. Number 2 is Brock Bowers. Number 3 is Trey McBride. Number 4 is Sam Laporta because of the fact that he struggled last year. And number 5, you could toss it up here. For me, A guy that I just feel like if he was given the opportunity and featured, I think he trumps all the other guys, and I really believe Likely is that guy. So
Yeah.
I'm going to put Likely at number 5.
And let's
Just
let's
based
not
on
forget.
what I think he could be.
Yeah, and let's not forget that a guy like Tony Ferguson showed a lot of upside. He's on a shitty team right now. His quarterback was hurt, and he got hurt last year. So look for Tony Ferguson to rise back up in those charts.
Tony Ferguson, he definitely showed some promise,
Or
but
is it Jake Ferguson? Sorry, not Tony.
yeah, it is Jake Ferguson. Yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't put his name there just yet.
No, I think if last year worked out for him, then he would be there. But he got injured. His quarterback got injured. So
Okay, let's go top 5 edge rushers.
okay, I think you have to put Myles Garrett number 1.
Yep.
I think you have to put Parsons number 2.
Okay.
Um,
I love this position, by the way.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. This is the best position to watch. If you have an elite edge rusher, then that's the best thing to watch on your team.
It is.
Okay. Let's go Garrett, Parsons. Then let's go. There is a fall off after those two.
No, man. There's still TJ Watt.
Sorry,
Crosby.
TJ Watt for sure. TJ Watt's number 3, and then there's a fall off. Crosby's an absolute stud, but he's not with those guys. He is a stud. But those 3 are on their own tier. Now, yeah, let's put Crosby 4, and let's put Nick Bosa 5.
My number 1 is Myles Garrett. My number 2 is Micah Parsons. My number 3 is Nick Bosa. Number 4, TJ Watt. Number 5, Max Crosby.
You still say Nick Bosa after that last year?
The reason why I say that, okay, anybody that understands schemes in the game of football will understand that the 49ers did not help Nick Bosa in any way. So I'm just going to break it down real quick. The 49ers, 90%, I want to say, I would love to know this stat, but I'm going to say 90% showed a 4-man front with no disguise, no attempt of even making the center think who could possibly be coming other than those 4. The quarterback didn't have to think. And what that does for an offense is it makes it really easy to call your protections and help on a guy like Nick Bosa. And that's what you saw. You saw guys chipping him as he's coming around the edge. You saw tight ends helping, running backs helping, flow away, max protection, roll out away. And if they roll to him, there's a crack block. You saw everything a DN would hate playing for. And that's why you see Nick Bosa voice what he did about the defense coordinator and his scheme. And it's just a fact. If you're not going to help anybody, let me tell you something. If you make it easy to stop Myles Garrett in the same system, his numbers would decline too. He wouldn't have been the defensive player of the year. I believe that. Yeah. You're going to make life easy on coaches in the NFL. Trust me, they'll take full advantage of that. And you can make a guy like Nick Bosa look pedestrian, and that's what you saw. Don't get me wrong. He still had 9 sacks. He still had the 3rd amount of most pressures in the league in that system. So don't make no mistake about it. Nick Bosa is still a big problem out there. And the easiest way you can tell is ask his peers.
I think he's garnered respect over his career, but if you were to ask his peers about last year, I don't think there's anything special. I think he gets a lot of gimme sacks. I think we both would agree on that. He gets gimme sacks. Okay. So that helps towards his numbers last year. But the argument I would make to what you just said is how good of a D coordinator does Max Crosby have? It's not great, but Max Crosby still finds specific, like, he'll still mess up a game for you. And I like how Max Crosby has specific plays where it's like, wow, he just completely blew up that play. I'm not saying Nick Bosa doesn't have those, but Max Crosby just seems to do it more often. So that's
I don't know. I'm a firm believer that a coach can hurt your game and he can also elevate your game. And when you have a coach that's basically designing plays where the offensive coordinator who's the NFL is loaded with coaches that are high level. And when you're coming with the 4-man front, 90% of the plays, no disguise, no threat of any outside pressure, interior pressure. Even if they don't come, just that 1 second of hesitation by the center or the guard is enough to free up space for a guy like Nick Bosa. And he's not getting that help from his D coordinator. It's a blessing that the 49ers not only got rid of this coordinator that I'm talking about, they brought in, our savior, if you will, a guy that took us to the Super Bowl in Robert Saleh. It's a big, big deal. I highly anticipate a big year for Nick Bosa. Just remember what he was like under Robert Saleh and DeMeco Ryans, who learned a lot from Robert Saleh. So I think you're going to see an old Nick Bosa. I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy's still young. There's no reason to believe he can't do it anymore. So he's coming off a 9-sack season, high pressures. He just didn't get a lot of help from his defensive coordinator. That's the fact.
Yeah, Nick Soreness was a problem. But
we called him soreness because it hurt. Anyway.
But right now, I would rather have Max Crosby. I hope Nick Bosa shuts me right up. I would love it.
Okay, top 5 LBs.
LBs. Fred Warner, number 1. Okay. Trying to think of somebody before I say Drake.
I think Roquan Smith, and that's about it that I'd put in front of my boy.
Roquan Smith is a stud.
Yep. I'm going to say my top 5 so you can think. I'm going to go with Fred. I'm going to go with Roquan Smith. I'm going to go with Dre Greenlaw. And then this is where I'm tempted to go with a young guy because the 4 and the 5 is not that great in the NFL. Or you could just go traditional here and you could say DeMario Davis from the Saints, who's been good for a very long time. I'm a fan of his game. So I am gonna put him there at number 4. And then my number 5 is a guy that didn't get to play a lot last year. I really believe in his game, and that's Matt Milano. You see the difference in the Buffalo Bills defense when he's in and versus when he's out. I think Matt Milano deserves a lot of respect, and I'm going to put respect on his name and put him number 5.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I want to add Patrick Queen somewhere in that top 5. I think Patrick Queen is the star. He plays relentless. So I don't know. I won't touch much on
read that comment.
I would like to ask Nick Soreness how he liked the snow game. Wink, wink. Oh man, it was this close.
What he's talking about is, so I go to quite a few Niner games, and I happen to go to the game in Buffalo, and I voice this pretty clear in this podcast how much I dislike Nick Soreness. And I happened to throw a snowball at him after we were getting lit up, and we got kicked out of the game. And it's funny because the coach looked back and was wondering who threw the snowball, and he pointed at us. But then I showed him that we're wearing Niner gear, and really, really put him in a funk. He literally did this. He's like, "What? They're wearing?" He was so confused, so he started doubting himself. But at that point, they made up their mind that they were kicking us out.
Man, you first tell me you're going to throw a snowball. This is how it went down. Sal just instantly goes, the next time I see Soreness, I'm throwing a snowball. I was like, well, he's right there. And the snowball was thrown. It happened that quick. There was no faking. It just happened. And before the game, they said whoever throws snowballs is going to get kicked out of the game. And there's a chance you even get arrested. So, I don't know. I guess you didn't hear that message. But there was no thought in my mind.
Oh, I heard it. The frustration was real.
I thought there was no chance you're serious, but it happened that quick.
So yeah, your top 5 linebackers. Sorry,
I'm gonna skip that. I think your list is good. I like Patrick. I'm gonna say it.
Okay, we're gonna go.
And Dre Greenlaw's top 3.
Yeah, Dre Greenlaw it's very sad that we let him go.
Yeah. Azeez Al-Shaair is an honorable mention. He's nasty.
I agree with that.
The Titans got a massive one.
Texans.
Texans.
So top 5 cornerbacks in the league.
Corners. Okay. This is a tough one.
I think I'm going Patrick Surtain number 1. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then I think Lenoir deserves to be in the top 5. A lot of people don't agree, and they're going to think I'm biased because I'm a 49er fan.
Mm-hmm.
But he really does. Anyway, I'm gonna go Patrick Surtain 1, Sauce 2. Actually, no. I'm going Trent McDuffie 2. And then I'm going Sauce 3. I really like Jalen Johnson's game. I'm going Jalen Johnson 4 and Lenore 5. PFF has Charvarius Ward ranked 3. That's pretty crazy. I really like Charvarius Ward, but I think that's a bit much. They have Surtain below him at 4. I think it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I like Surtain number 1. PFF incorporates some weird statistics in their overall ranking. It messes up the overall ranking, but I like Patrick Surtain number 1. I do think Sauce Gardner is a little overrated. He's still elite, but I'm not going to put him number 2. I like Derek Stingley. I think you have to put him in the top 5. And I'm actually putting him number 2. He's extremely young.
I like him too. Yeah,
he's extremely young and he's just nasty. So let's put him number 2. Let's put your boy McDuffie number 3. Let's put Sauce number 4. And a guy that when he is healthy, he's probably one of my favorite corners to watch in the league is Jair Alexander. He just needs to stay healthy, man.
Yeah, he hasn't been healthy.
He's nasty when he's healthy.
Yeah, and they're looking to possibly release him. That's very interesting. If the 49ers were able to bring him in, I don't think that's possible. But if they were,
that's a guy you take a gamble on.
That would be crazy what that would do for the cornerback room on the 49ers.
Yeah. Safeties left?
Yep. So top 5 safeties in the league.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
So, safeties. Let's start this off. I like a guy that needs to stay. Okay, number 1, I think, is for sure Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton is absolute stud.
That's my guy.
Before he got drafted, I was saying whoever gets Kyle Hamilton is getting a freaking Hall of Fame. So, there goes the Ravens with their Hall of Fame. Kyle Hamilton, number 1, clear, hands down. Number 2, let's give it to Minkah Fitzpatrick. Definition of a ball hawk. Number 3, I like Derwin James. He could do it all. Number 4, I like Justin Simmons. And number 5, I'm going to give it to Hufanga if he stays healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, an honorable mention is Javon Holland. But Hufanga is a stud. Like, that's another player that we lost that it's overlooked because of how big of a loss Troy Greenlaw is, but Hufanga is an animal.
So my number 1 safety in the league, Kyle Hamilton, it's hands down to me. Minka's right on him, but I think Hamilton is the guy that's taken over. The number 3, I think I would go with Derwin James. Number 4, I still have Budda Baker up there. That's a guy that I don't know. I think Budda Baker plays the game at a high level. And then number 5, I can't remember his name. The safety on the Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions.
He keeps leading the league in picks. I can't find him, but anyway, I would take him as my number 5. So that's it. That's
Joseph?
Yeah, Joseph. That's it. So that's it for the show today, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and till next time.
Hey, we're gonna try to do one every day, so you guys got to keep coming back. We appreciate the views.
Yeah, and my brother wants me to just shout out Alex Ovechkin, possibly chasing Wayne Gretzky tonight. It has nothing to do with Niner ball, but let's go Ovi. I hope he cracks the record tonight. So until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.